All right. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday evening. I am waiting on Cristina. Let me turn my volume up. I don't know if that affects how you can hear me or not, but waiting on Cristina. She's running just a couple minutes behind. So, um, as you are popping on, if you would just give a little thumbs up or a wave so that I know you're here. Hey, Holly, how are you? Good to see you. Um, yeah, so Cristina should be here any minute now. I still wanted to come on time because I told you we'd be here at 7:30, so here we are at 7:30. Um, yeah, and I also plan on coming in here and offering some movement. I had kind of put it out, well, I did put it out to the group last week. I asked if anybody would be interested in if I came in here and offered some movement through a live video on Saturday morning, and I had some feedback that yes, that would be appreciated. But I didn't end up planning it for last Saturday, so I have it on my radar for something that I will be coming in here and doing. I'll probably do it, on a semi-regular basis. Just experiment and see how we can come in and move and stretch. Let's do that a little bit now. Why don't we just, because I don't know about you, but I have been working all day, and so my body is feeling a little bit tight. Here's Cristina. I was just taking a little stretch, Cristina. I'm going to bring you on now. Let's see. Says it's you. There you are. How are you?
I um I'm a little off. I had planned to be in my office and best laid plans. I left early and then I realized I forgot my key. Oh well. So we're at my house now, but I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be with you and to talk a little bit about the work that I do. So thank you for this.
Absolutely. And yeah, just this is the thing about this is it's super casual, right? So just take a few breaths and relax and not worry about it. I still popped in on time just so I could let everybody know you were on your way and it was happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cristina is the perfect example of a woman who has followed her passion and just like followed the different threads of your passions, right? Like I let's like I holistic like healing is an art form, and you really when we talk and when I think about what you do, you are a healing artist because you followed all these different paths and then you swirl them all together to create this amazing combination. And so why don't you talk about it?
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I have always been interested in healing, the healing arts. I can remember as a middle schooler being inspired by the idea of medicine women. Although in high school I lost my way and had no idea what I would do. My mother's a nurse, and so the question was, "Aren't you going to become a nurse like your mother?" And
Mm,
and I remember having like, "No, I don't want to do what my mother's doing."
mm.
Funny how things, certain patterns present in certain families, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I started looking into with my first child midwifery and really in learning a lot about natural childbirth, and then into breastfeeding, and then it went into passion for food and really looking into eating in a holistic way. and I was a La Leche League leader for a while, so definitely supporting breastfeeding women with that whole challenge. It can be challenging, definitely in this culture, to be a breastfeeding mom and handling all of those issues. That was a really great experience, and along the line, I was a preschool teacher at a Waldorf school and learned about this healing art one time while I was living out in Phoenix and working at a Waldorf school, and heard about this healing art called Jin Shin Jitsu, and they happened to do a 3 hour self-care class, and I completely fell in love. I came out of that class feeling so amazing and also super grounded, and knew that I needed to learn a whole lot more. And that was in 2007, and I have been studying that particular modality ever since. Along the way, herbs have woven their way into my life. I love the plants, and so you can kind of see behind me. There's a poster of herbs, and and so that's sort of woven in, and yeah, it's been a real journey to learn about different healing modalities and kind of share it a lot with my friends and family. And then more formally, about 4 years ago, when I opened my practice.
Yeah.
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 That's kind of a long way of saying how healing has been an inspiration for me for a long time, and a true passion and for me for a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. And in your practice, what I love most, I mean, I love all of it, but is that you are able to affect people and to help them initiate healing within their body and connect like mind, body, spirit. So yeah, why don't
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about about what you do and how you help people?
Yeah. So the work that I do is definitely it's a style of acupressure, Jinshin Jitsu. That's a style of 5 element based for people that are knowledgeable about that. And so I definitely look at elemental aspects. I tend to look at the way that the energies are flowing in the body, listening to the body, and sort of helping the body find a more perfect balance. We're all on a healing journey. There's always going to be projects along the way on that healing journey. And the work that I do is really about supporting my people with helping them get further along on that healing journey, break up some of the old stuff, help transform it so that way they can move through it instead of staying stuck. I do use a little bit of medical astrology. That's been a newer kind of addition in my practice, and so I will look at people's natal charts from the aspect of what organs, what systems may be a bit more used because of who we come in as, what our sun sign is, has different correspondences. And so by looking at that, I can, for example, for myself, I'm a Gemini, and in Jujitsu that correlates to the stomach. And yeah, my stomach needs a bit more support. And so doing stomach flows and other things that support that whole organ system keeps me in better balance for a longer period of time. And I find that that really has been a really great slice, a picture of where my clients may have projects. And in my older clients, older, um, it's pretty much 95% of it is like, wow, we've been working with this, and look at now that we've looked at your chart, those 3 things are showing up big time. So it's been really fun to kind of have a little bit more clarity, another slice of what's going on, and another way of supporting them with their bodies. I'm not sure if I answered that question properly,
No,
but
it's perfect. No, no, there's, yeah, it's perfect. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
So it's definitely helping people along their healing journey with this body work. It's definitely touch. Generally, it's gentle touch, although sometimes my fingers will go in a little bit more. But it's a clothed modality. So funny enough, I have quite a bit of males in my practice because they don't have to get undressed.
Yeah,
And for them, that's a little bit easier, kind of like, oh, I can just stay in my clothes
yeah,
and get a little bit of body work. That seems a
yeah.
bit more appealing.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a lot of people, massage. If you've never had a massage, but I'm as a massage therapist, first timers or people who have never had a massage, like that's one of the biggest things that they're concerned about is, oh, I have to take my clothes off, and just a little bit of fear surrounding that. So it's nice for people to know that there are modalities that are, in like touch modalities, massage type modalities, even though it's a little bit different that yeah you get to leave all your clothes on and you get to feel like when you're pressing into these acupressure points and doing like they get super duper relaxed. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. One of my clients, when she first started experiencing this, she's like, this is better than a 2 hour massage. It takes me a long time to really kind of like let go and really get a deep relaxation. And one of your sessions, which is way shorter than a 2 hour massage, I will get deep really quickly. And the clarity that I come out of this session and the how good my body feels is amazing. She also happens to have multiple health issues,
Mm.
and so it's been interesting for her as she just came to me. I think it was like a week ago and said, "You're not going to believe this particular doctor because she has. I'm just part of her picture, part
Sure.
of the puzzle." Integrating and with her other practitioners, and the other practitioner said, well, your blood work shows that you are actually in menopause. Did you know that? And what was funny is that she was like, no, I didn't notice that. And she had commented 6 months earlier, I haven't needed to go to the dermatologist as often as I used to. And so it's been interesting to notice that because this body is getting a lot more encouragement and support to really go into its healing process,
Yeah.
that there's a whole lot more balance and harmony. It's able to handle more things, even though life is stressful. She's actually gotten into graduate school recently, and so there's all of these things going on for her that are stressful, but her body has stayed much more even keeled now that we've been doing this work together than it did previously. And she is a huge raving fan because of that.
Yeah, because you're helping her nervous system to calm down and you're helping her like her body learn to we're all going to have stress, but if our body knows how to adapt to the stress well and manage the stress in a healthy
Mhm.
way, then yeah, we can experience things like, that are normal parts of our aging process like menopause or perimenopause, without as many symptoms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been interesting working with different clients along those ways that like as they start noticing some of those other things like, oh, that particular symptom is calming way down now. Or there's this other thing that used to bother me a lot. That's not bothering me so much.
Yeah.
And so it's been really lovely to have people experience more comfort in their bodies, less pain, and overall be healthier, which ultimately allows us to be more productive. We can really be much more productive in our lives in all the ways that we want to be productive when we're much more comfortable in our bodies. And so that has been a real beautiful blessing for me to see people get back to the things that they love and in the ways that they want to contribute into the world,
Yeah.
and feel more capable and more comfortable in doing so.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I believe you told me that you work with some people who have had some major issues going on and you work with people after they've had surgery and you're noticing that people have recovery quicker after surgery or when they have an illness or an injury like So I imagine you really see that. It's not just like somebody like me who, yeah, I can feel better, but you're really helping people with significant issues.
The surgery part has been really, I've worked with a few different clients on that, like seen me a couple times before their surgery and then soon after, within a few days, whatever is workable for their schedule, and then a little bit afterwards. And all of them have reported that their healing time, that their surgeons have been really impressed with how well they've been healing, that their healing has progressed. And particularly that one right after the surgery, many of them have felt like their pain levels really decreased by coming into me. And so they didn't have to use as many medications, pills of whatever kind. And
Yeah.
so that too was really helpful for them. And the way I describe it when it comes to surgery is that you come to me right before your surgery so we can really calm the whole system down, because of course we've got worries, we're concerned about something big like that,
Yeah.
happening. And so calming the whole system down before the surgery allows the surgery to just be able to happen a little bit easier. The tissue will respond because it's not jacked up. And
Yeah.
then after the surgery, it's about helping the body acclimate to this new way of being, of having been very intrusively, it's a knife, there's things that's
Yeah.
happened. And
Yeah.
so helping that body reacclimate and find its new normal, new balance is been a great thing. And then afterwards, continuing that recovery process has been really, really a fun thing. And so that's been a great thing for those of my clients who've had that. It's been a great resource for them. And of course, I give homework. When you're laying on the bed, how about you do this particular technique and that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, those are just, I've had a client who also has tremors. And when she's under a lot of stress, she begins and she's like, oh. So then she'll begin some of the techniques that I've taught her. And then she's like, okay, it's been 2 weeks. It's been a little too long. I need to schedule. For her, that's a good rhythm,
Yeah.
and all the projects that she has. But she also knows, she's like, managing her stress, managing all of those things, and this is part of the pieces that constitute how she's taking care of her health.
Yeah, yeah. So I imagine it's, that how often and how frequently you work with somebody really depends on where they're at in their journey and what kind of chronic or acute or whatever they have going on.
Yeah. Generally, I work with people in a series. I rarely do what I'll call one-offs.
Hmm.
I find that people that work um, sort of in a series of 10, we can make a bigger shift
Sure.
in what their system is doing, what their body, how they're responding, and all of those kinds of things. So I find that really makes the biggest shift, and they're able to do a whole lot more once they've had that experience. And so it just kind of depends on how big the project is that
Right,
they're dealing with.
right.
Yeah.
So, I know that you weave together these different things, but just to clarify for everybody, can you share a little bit of the difference between like working with acupressure and acupuncture?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I once heard another practitioner of this same modality, Jinjitsu, talk about it. He'd actually gone to acupuncture school, and so I asked him this question. And the way he described it to me, which I thought was super useful, was that acupuncturists are really trying to get the needle in the middle, right in the very center of that stream of energy that they're working with. And Junshin Jitsu practitioners, the modality that I work with primarily, it's really about, we work with the banks of that river of energy, still influencing the energy. It's just from slightly different angles. And it still can be very specific. not as specific as an acupuncturist with their needle in that particular spot. And even acupuncturists will say, yeah, the spots can move depending on what's going on with that particular body. But yeah, that's the biggest sort of difference is I'm working with the banks of that energy and they're working more in the center of the energy.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some people are afraid of needles too. I've had acupuncture and I remember I was afraid of the needles when I have tattoos, so it's the weirdest thing that I would be afraid of going for for acupuncture, but I was. And so for anybody who might be afraid of needles, uh, using acupressure is and it follows along the same kind of lines in the body, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The meridians are very, very similar within Jiu-Jitsu and five element acupuncture. It's very, very, very similar. So it's the same kind of thing that we're working with and just a slightly different angle on it. But yeah, it is for those that are nervous about needles, then this is a great way of being able to get some ancient Chinese medicine. That tradition goes 5, 7,000 years, depending on where you see the information. But it's a tradition that goes back 5,000 years at least. Um, so there's something to that.
Yeah.
When it's been used for that long, people have found it to be effective. If not, it wouldn't be around anymore. And so if you're looking to have some support in this kind of way, and I will say that these older traditions tend to be much better at handling chronic things.
Sure.
Acute is great. Our modern medicine is great for acute medicine. So if we break your arm, break a leg, please take me to the ER. Let's get it
Right.
taken care of. And then I'm going to use these other traditions to help me heal faster.
Right.
Um, and so they definitely can work really well together. And yeah, so it's a great thing. And I've heard actually a local surgeon talk to a client of mine saying, "Hey, do you work with an acupuncturist?" And she said, "Actually, I work with this person and she does this." And so it's kind of fun to hear of surgeons saying, "You might want to consider some acupuncture to help you with the surgery."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's nice. That's amazing. And yeah, not to compare you
yeah.
to acupuncture, like, but it's just, yeah, I, what came to mind is that, acupuncture, they're physicians, and people are very familiar with acupuncture. And, some of the women watching this likely even have experience with acupuncture, helping them with something. And
Various concerns, yes.
so yeah, so it's a similar modality. So we know
Mhm.
you're definitely like it legitimizes. I mean, you were legitimate before, but but it's nice to have that. Like you don't have to have the yeah. You're still doing it. I'm sorry, I'm yammering around my mind. My mind
Wheels are spinning.
in circles.
Yeah. No, it's wonderful. I was really impressed that the surgeon was acknowledging that could be really complementary. And I just thought that was very forward thinking and wonderful of him to have suggested that to my client
Yeah.
and for her to say, "Hey, I've got something that works really great for me." And she does acupressure. And so that was really sweet and lovely. And so I keep meaning to actually contact that surgeon and
Yeah.
formally introduce myself. So that way, that would be another resource for him. If somebody says I'm not interested in needles, then this is another alternative, but still getting the healing energy, the healing qualities of what this does, and helping the whole body, the whole nervous system, everything to be less inflamed, less out of whack, and be more calm and ready for the surgery, so that way the surgery has an even greater potential to be as successful as possible, and for recovery to be that much better.
Yes.
And that's kind of what it comes down to. And so that's kind of the work that I'm really inspired by, is really helping my peoples to be as at their best. That's really what I want,
Mhm.
is for people to feel better in their bodies, and to be able to have some tools that can help them when they're not with me, and also get a really great tune up when they come to see me,
Yeah.
and feel that much more resourced.
Excellent. So do you find in your experience, since you work with people over a series of like 10 sessions, do you find that they start making different choices and decisions for themselves throughout
Hmm.
that period of
Yeah, that's
time?
there can, yes, I've seen a little bit of that effect for sure. They take more, well, I will say this, that sometimes people get into this idea that getting body work of any kind is selfish. And so choosing to do something along this, I would say this is about taking care of yourself, so that way you can take care of your loved ones, whoever that may be.
Yeah,
And so it does have a little bit of a cascading effect, in the sense that this is about, oh, I need to take care of myself. Let me think about some of the other ways that I can also do better. I can up level my food. I can up level my exercise. I can up level whatever it is. It allows a lot more clarity. Um, I've had several clients say that coming is like the best meditation. Like they can just, things just come in really clearly, things that they were unclear about, all of a sudden during that session is just like, oh, that's what my next step is in whatever situation. And so I think when we have more clarity, it's easier to make the decisions that are in our own best interests.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so yeah, so that sounds like that's the biggest thing that you see is people experiencing once they get connected, mind, body, spirits connected in a session, deep meditation, clarity comes in, new choices, new possibilities, more self.
Yeah, and not everybody's a meditator, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
It's more like everybody has their own experience of it, but this is about feeling more centered, less uncomfortable, less pain. And so it's easier to just not be muddled by those other things, because, oh, I feel more solid, I feel more grounded, I'm not hurting, so I'm not distracted by that. So then I can make clear decisions about whatever it is, whether it's about managing their health, or managing their business, or managing their family, whatever it is.
Yeah. Do you experience a lot of your clients having pain when they come to see you initially?
People come to me for different reasons, but there are some who have chronic issues, and this really helps, is a great piece on helping to manage all of that, the chronic issues. They do have to come a little bit more frequently when we're getting it kind of handled, and then it becomes less frequently after things have calmed down.
Sure.
I had one woman who initially, she could tell, like we were seeing weekly for about 2 months. She was under an enormous amount of stress, on top of health issues. And so her appointments at that time were, I think, were on Monday. And she could tell in the early time by Friday that she couldn't wait to come see me. So, and that was only 4 days. And now she just went 3 weeks. Now
Uh,
she was so ready for this. She's like, oh my gosh, I've been looking forward to this all day.
yeah.
But it's been great to see that her reserves are much deeper now than they were when she first came to me, because she had multiple big things that had happened. She'd been in the hospital for all those things, and so this was part of the healing plan, and it's been a great resource for her.
Nice. Nice.
Mhm.
I love that. So how do people find you? If somebody wants to work with you, how do they connect with you? How do they reach out to you? Do you have a website?
Well, I'm
Facebook?
here. Yeah, I'm here on Facebook. I haven't been posting as much. I have a personal page, and then I also have a business page. That business page is under Salina Harmonizing Bodywork, Salina, which really refers to salt, because I also within my practice use salt stones. That's something I hadn't mentioned previously.
That's okay.
Um, yeah, uh, and then Salina Harmonizing, sort of referring to the acupressure, and then body work, which some people are like, so do you work on cars? Um, so I will probably change that name, but for now, for a while, probably through the summer, it will be Salina Harmonizing Bodywork, and people can find me there. There's a series of videos. I did some Facebook Lives last summer, so it's a while ago.
Mhm.
5-minute videos on little techniques, little things, tools that people could begin using. So if people dig through that, they'll be able to find that series that I think begun right at the end of May, 2018. And I did them for about, 8 to 10 weeks or so. And so that would be a great little freebie. People could get a little bit more of a sense of the work that I teach, things that I teach people, and get a feel for how I'm working with people and what I'm doing and all of that kind of stuff. So all of that is a great resource. Yeah, so those would be the easiest ways
Yeah.
to to find me for sure.
Will you
And
drop the
I
link? Will you drop the link in the comments after our talk for your Facebook page? So yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
sure.
that would be cool.
And but I can also, my business number, if some people are more want to talk on the phone, is 352-888-4596. So again, I can also drop that in the comments later, but if it's useful, 352-888-4596. This is what my card looks like. And it's got some Himalayan salt stones on there.
Nice.
Um, so that's another resource. But yeah, I'm a mom around town. If you happen to be around GHS, especially the marching band, you'll see me there. So yeah, so I'm available. Messenger, any of those kinds of things. Happy to talk about these beautiful healing arts and helping people along their path in this healing journey.
Excellent. Yeah, I had another question, but I forgot what it was. Does anybody who is watching have any questions? If you do, now would be a great time to just pop it in the comments and yeah, and it'll pop up.
Yeah,
So far, nobody's asked any questions on any of my Facebook Lives. So if they don't do it now, it has nothing to do with you. I think they're shy.
oh, well, it's evening and everybody's kind of beginning that wind down process, so
Yeah,
totally understandable.
yes.
But I'm really grateful to be able to talk a little bit about what it is I'm doing and how I might be of service, because that's really what it comes down to, is that I love being of service, and this is something that I've spent a lot of time and money studying, and I love sharing it. I definitely nerd out on this kind of stuff. There are a couple times where my clients will start saying something, and I'll just like, okay, I'm nerding out. Let me reel it back in now. For
Yeah,
as chatty as I can be when it comes to the body work, I am super quiet. It's really, I'm all about having the greatest healing experience for my clients. And so it's been a really fun thing. People that know me socially, they're like, you're such a social butterfly. I'm like, Yeah, but not my table. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, 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 exactly, exactly, exactly. And yeah, there's a reverence that you have for the body and for the work, and when you're coming into presence, and you have a very you're very present, you're very tuned in, you're very intuitive. So yeah, I know that you can go from chatting when it's time to be chatting to just zoom to
Exactly.
and create that healing, that really wonderful healing space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that about you, and yeah, I appreciate your work, and I am inspired. I don't know if I can. I have somebody very close to me who's going to be having surgery very soon, and I'm hoping that I can. Uh, I don't want to say convince her, but I'd like to
Share this information. Yeah. I mean, if it's helpful
maybe
and
she's
it's
watching
inspiring,
this.
yeah, that would be great. I also, if people want to, excuse me, get a little bit of email information, I will generally, if people send, I have a Salina Harmonizing at gmail.com. That's the easiest email way to reach me. But I'm happy to send people an email with some basic information. There's some YouTube videos by another Jitsu practitioner that she actually works out of, I believe it's Lexington, Kentucky, works with the Cancer Institute there. And
Oh,
she's
cool.
been super successful in supporting cancer survivors, and even those who are in the process of working with it and chemo and all of those kinds of things. She's been using our modality to support that healing process, and helping the caregivers as well. And so she's created a whole little series of YouTubes, and so books. I have recommendations on all that. So I'm happy to share that email as well if people are kind of curious more about the modality that I use, or I want some resources. I'm happy to send that as well. It's different, and yet it's beautiful. It's simple. It's pretty easy in terms of self-care, and yet it is got quite depth. It really, although it's Jitsu considered by many as just energy medicine, it really does work on the mind and on the spirit, and also on the body. And so to have those three levels to be supported, encouraged, and allowed for, has been a really amazing process,
Yeah.
and been a marvel in my life, allowing me to heal and continue healing for myself. And it's been a great resource for my children, for my hubby. It's been, when I first started learning it, anybody I could grab my hands on, please let me
Yeah.
practice on you. It's been quite the experience. I mean, shoot, through high school with my oldest, Friday night movie night was me doing jiu-jitsu on her. So, yeah, it's been quite the I love this. I love doing this kind of work. I
Yeah.
love helping people on their healing journey, and I'm so grateful. So
Yeah,
grateful to
that
be
really
here.
comes through. That really comes through. I think everyone can feel your passion. I sure can. Um, and I think you're the only person in Gainesville practicing this. Are you the only person?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. It's not very common. It is, the world headquarters are in Scottsdale, Arizona. There tend to be more Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the West Coast area, some in New
Mhm.
York. We have a few in South Florida, not very many. The closest Jiu-Jitsu practitioner that I know of is in Palm Coast, and
Yeah.
the rest are down in Tampa. So it's yeah, I'm
North
really the only
Central
one
Florida.
bringing these teachings here. So I'm really glad. Also, this is my hometown. I grew
Yeah.
up here. And so I'm really glad to bring this gentle but really effective healing art to my locals and sharing it. So it's profound,
Yeah.
simple but profound, and I'm
Yeah.
really grateful to
Yeah.
share it.
And you do workshops sometimes as well.
Yeah, I haven't done as many. I've been so concentrated on working one-on-one, but it is definitely, I have done them before. And that is on my to-do list to start that up really soon to begin that process of teaching some little classes that can be done locally. And I'm also working on a home study course, so that way people could just have a digital format of the things that I highly recommend to my clients as they're leaving out the door, their homework. This would be a great support in that healing process, things that they could just do easily wherever they are, whether they're at home or, you know, often doing other things at the office, things that they could incorporate into their lives just to, you know, help them along the route. Yeah.
Nice. So we'll look for
Hmm.
all these exciting things to come.
Yes, yes. Plans are definitely it's in the plans to begin some self-care classes. That would be a really great thing. Hmm.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
are there any final thoughts you would like to leave us with?
Oh.
Anything we missed or
Oh, I feel like I've discussed so much.
yeah, there doesn't have to be.
Yeah. I can't think of anything, but I will say thank you so much for creating this Facebook group. I think it was really, I was super inspired that you were wanting to create this space for local women to feel empowered and to be able to have an enriching space, a place where the conversation is a bit more elevated, that we're going into deeper thoughts and ideas and that we could really have a place non-judgmental to be able to kind of explore things that may be new to us and even if they're not new to us to go a little bit deeper with all of that and to be such a shining example of a woman who's standing in her power, doing her best to serve her community. I really appreciate you being that for us as a group and creating a platform, a space for us to be able to do this, even if it's occasionally just touching in little bits here and there. It's nice to have that and to have such an inspiring leader is just ups the game even better. So I really am grateful for you to have provided the space for asking me for this interview. I'm just really grateful. Thank you.
Oh, I'm blushing. No, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome and thank you for all of that. I'm just going to take it in for a minute because yeah, it's I still have that like little bit of shyness and that little bit of difficulty like taking in a sort of compliment or focus being on me, which is something I've been working through for a long time. But yeah, so for everybody watching, I'm super glad you're all here and yeah, I need to have like yeah, I need to have these connections.
Mm.
I want to know more about all of you. I want us all to know more about each other. I want us all to support each other in a really inspiring and empowering, motivating way. And to I've never been good at not being real.
Mm.
So so here we
Really good.
are.
Yeah.
And I invite
Yeah.
you to bring up, to bring conversations to the table. Sometimes it's what's on my mind that's going to be more of a challenging topic, and sometimes it's just like, hey, what do we need to hear today? And I definitely invite like everyone to who's here and who's watching and who's part of the community to co-create. So pop in and share what you want and start conversations and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Have a rich place, a really rich place to be able to share and to grow and to empower all of us in and
Mhm.
to move forward in our path and be supported in that process. And I definitely see that in what you are helping us to have. So
Cool.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right,
So
my
that's
friend. I have no idea what time it is because I forgot to bring my clock in with me. So I'm guessing it's been about 30 minutes. We might have gone over.
just a little bit. I can see the clock. It's about 15 past the hour. So it's been a lovely 45 minutes being with you. And again, thank you for allowing me to kind of bring this information out a little bit more publicly. I definitely have been so busy with all the varying things around my household that sometimes I forget to kind of reach out a little bit further past my community, the ones that I see much more regularly. And it's nice to be out there stretching my wings a little bit, touching base, and really, it's about making those connections because you never know who will be the lovely person that helps you on your path. And so why not be a part of this beautiful community? Gainesville's an amazing place with a lot of great resources in so many ways, and it's really wonderful to be in a small college town with a lot of beautiful nature around us and a lot of well-educated people who are forward thinkers. And so it's nice to connect even more with that kind of quality of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also for us to really have an understanding of you and what you have to offer us.
Mhm.
And you never know when we are going to need you or somebody in our life is going to need you. And now we know what you do and that you're available. That's one thing that's so tricky, and I find it even with myself in my business is like we can have these websites and these Facebook pages and these all of these things, and we can like say in words, how we think we're
Right,
explaining what we do, but people have absolutely no idea what we do, right?
right.
sometimes, sometimes.
Yeah,
So, and it also just takes that repetition of, just like talking with this person, talking with that person, putting it out there more and more and more so that more and more people are aware.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And when they need you, they can call on you
Exactly.
rather than
Exactly.
going, who can help me solve this
Exactly.
problem?
Exactly. 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 Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Yay, thank
So
you.
thank you. Thank you, and you're welcome. And sorry to keep you a little extra long, but I know we both like talking, so thank you to everybody who watched. Hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, Christina's gonna drop her information in the comments, and I'm gonna leave this on as an announcement for 24 hours, and then I'm gonna tag it Empowered Woman in Healing, so it'll be easily findable.
Oh, sweet. Awesome.
Oh.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. You
You're
too.
welcome. Thanks. Talk to you soon.